Okay. Problem number 5. Now, this says isolating for y. This 1.4b part 2 doesn't necessarily have to solve for y. Okay. There could be a whole bunch of different variables here, and could be a different variable. But this worksheet specifically says solve for y. Okay. So we're going to have to solve for y. Now, if you notice, let's do number 5. If you notice in number 5, now we're doing for y. I'm going to write that over here so I don't forget. If you notice, I have y in 2 terms. Okay. That is going to be an issue. Okay. I need to get that. You know what? This is a terrible problem because this one's actually going to work out. I'm going to do a different problem. Okay. Let's look at number 6. And then I'll show you what happens in number 5. So again, we're going to go for y. Same thing. I have y in 2 terms. Okay. I can't combine these two. In other words, I can't subtract 8y from 15xy because they are not like terms. Please don't put 7xy down. So whenever I have the same variable that I'm solving for in 2 unlike terms, I'm going to have to eventually, at some point, do what's called, well, it's not a mathematical term, but I'm going to have to, what we like to call undistribute. In other words, we're going to use a distributive property backwards. So when I use a distributive property backwards, that means I'm not going to multiply over parentheses. I have to undo it by dividing each one of these terms. And since y is in each one of these terms, I'm going to actually divide out a y. That means I'm going to have parentheses left over. Okay. Now, instead of multiplying, I'm dividing. So if I look at that first term, 15xy, I'm going to divide it by y, which means the y's are going to cancel. And I'm left with 15x. Going to bring down my subtraction sign. And I'm left with 8y divided by y. So again, the y's are going to cancel. And I'm left with 8. Now, looking at this term, I now just took 2 terms and made 1 term with multiplication between them. I made this its own number by putting parentheses around it. So I actually have 1 number times another number. I can undo the multiplication here by dividing by this number, 15x minus 8. Remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So this number cancels. And I'm left with y equals, and I don't care about this whole mess over here, 9 over 15x minus 8. If you want to keep the parentheses there, you can. And that's my answer. Okay. Now let me go back to number 5, and I want to show you why that's kind of going to be a little different. When I'm looking at this, and when I bring over the variable to this side, because I want any terms with the same variable on one side of my equation. When I go to subtract this 5y from both sides, These are like terms. I can easily subtract 5y from 15y to get 10y, negative 3x. I only have one term with the y, whereas this side, I had two terms with the y. And it didn't, I don't have to undistribute in this problem. All I have to do is just divide out that coefficient 10, and I get y by itself. So it's not going to show me that undistributive strategy. Okay. Any questions? Watch the video for the lesson 1.4b, and follow, take notes, and then do the practice worksheet. And that'll be it. It's your assignment for today.